was 1996 when I moved to Vancouver from Ottawa, and I chose to live in the West End. And I do like to tell people that that's one of my best life decisions. I'm very happy with that one. Well, a few years later, I found out about WeCan. WeCan, that's a lovely acronym for West End Citizens Action Network. And this is a group of residents who are interested in community safety and community building. And they did that through working with existing groups and organizations and agencies. So I became a member. Let's get some right. Okay. In 2005, I found myself feeling less compassionate towards the homeless people. And that wasn't something I liked about myself very much. And I was sharing that concern with a friend, and because serendipity happens in my life a lot, he told me about two women who were starting a project to increase awareness about homelessness. And wouldn't you know, the very next week there was a meeting about that at Simon Fraser University's downtown campus. So off I go. And that's how I found out about this project called Out of the Rain. And the whole intent of this was a citywide project that would work with the arts community, paint umbrellas, have an auction, and give that money to organizations that work with homeless people through the arts. Well, as you know, I'm an arts person, so I was hooked. I was motivated, got to do something about this. I go to WeCan, and I said, would you support the idea that we participate in this Out of the Rain project? And they agreed. So with that, then I went to the West End Community Center, and I said, would you provide space so we can do an umbrella painting project? And they agreed. And then they gave me a contact list of their art teachers who work at the center, and I contacted them and asked some of them if they would volunteer to paint umbrellas for the community day as part of the promotion for the workshop. 3 of them agreed, and I wish you could have seen the marvelous job they did on painting these umbrellas. So that was great. So now we had a space, we had support, we had, all we needed now was some supplies. So WeCan gave me a letter that I could take around to the business community to say what we were about and get their support. 2 of the Safeway stores gave gift cards, and we could use that to buy supplies. The 2 hardware stores gave us cans of paint. Starbucks gave us sleeves of those coffee cups that we could use to pour the paint in so the artists could get the paint. And Mr. Pickwick's, remember on Denman Street? They gave us some money, and we were able to go and buy some paintbrushes. And then the Davie Village West End BIA gave us some money so we could buy some of these fabulous umbrellas. They're called Bottle Cap. Aren't they fabulous? Yes. You can see the wonderful painting service it presented for us. And the supplier of these gave us a really generous discount, so we were able to afford to buy some. We got them in all different kinds of colors. This is just one I kept for myself. So okay, now we're almost ready to go. But you know, the whole thing about doing something for homeless people, that's admirable. But at the same time, I wanted to do something where we could work with them, have them participate in the process. Well, you know, the First Baptist Church up at the corner of Nelson and Gerard, they do things for homeless people. They have a night where they feed them hot meals, they do have some sleeping accommodation. So I went up there and I met with staff and lots of volunteers and met with some homeless people, and tell them about this project, about the umbrellas, and hope they would come and participate in this workshop. I think it's fair to say that the staff thought I was being a tad optimistic. They never used the word naive, but that's what it was. Because the idea that they would come to a one-off event and paint an umbrella just didn't seem that realistic. However, off we go. And now, if you can imagine the West End Community Center, we've got music playing, the tables are set up, the doors are open, people can wander in and see what we're doing and why we're doing it. So there's a whole interaction thing going on. And we had some local artists come and were part of our group. We had a family, we had teenagers from the King George High School, we had residents of all ages. It was really a nice mix. And we did have 2 volunteers who came from the church. A little while later, one of the 2 women involved in this project came along to have a conversation with us, and she came in carrying these amazing umbrellas. Do you remember when across from the center there was a store that sold those Asian kind of oriented household effects? And they used to have wonderful umbrellas outside on the sidewalk to attract people into the store. She came carrying a bunch of them, with other people helping her to carry them. So we set those up in the hall just because they look absolutely gorgeous. And in the midst of all of that wonderful high positive energy and everything that was going on, a homeless person walked in. He wanted to paint an umbrella. I was so glad the two volunteers were there from the church because they welcomed him and welcomed him as well. And he painted a sky. The top of this was his idea of what a sky would look like with stars and the moon and everything. And when he was done, he held it up like this. And the lights from the ceiling shone through his umbrella. And it really was a nighttime sky. And he got so excited. He was just so excited and so happy. Well, it was contagious. So then everybody who was participating in the workshop came over to have a look at his sky from under the umbrella. It was really one of those wonderful moments that you can't imagine happening. You couldn't have planned that, you know, it was just wonderful. Okay, so now we pass on to the night of the gala, and it was at the Roundhouse Community Center. And because this was a citywide initiative, oh my goodness, hundreds of people and hundreds of umbrellas. And they were all festooned all around this hall in the most amazing display. But when you opened the door and came into the hall, all of our weekend umbrellas were lined up like a promenade, you know, two sides of them. And what a showpiece it was. Oh my goodness, they were gorgeous. We felt so proud to have that prominent position for our umbrellas. I think partly because it was an unusual umbrella. They were going to be hard to hang up, but it really was quite magnificent. After the auction and everything, because you don't know quite what's going on that night, we found out that our 20 umbrellas generated $1,000 that went to the cause. And most of that went to an organization that does work with young people. And we know that art is a really good way to reach out to young people. And if you can get them early, you have a much better chance of keeping them off the street. So that was another nice feedback thing after our band. As well, we found out that the Out of the Rain, while it didn't continue to do citywide initiatives, they did spend a couple of more years working with homeless people through the art in the downtown east side. And our leftover art supplies went to the community center for whatever they chose to do with them. But isn't that a great story? Isn't that a nice Western story about how an organization got together, the residents came, the artists came, the business community supported us. It just encompasses it all. And as somebody said earlier, there are so many Western stories. I even had a hard time deciding which one I'm going to tell. But I like this one, and I hope you did too. And it's another reason why I'm so proud to live in the West End. Thank you.